Grandpa Bill, story time with Grandpa Bill. It's Grandpa Bill's story time. Yay! Hi, I'm Grandpa Bill. Welcome to Grandpa Bill's story time. Come on in, make yourself comfortable, and we're going to sit down and read a good book. Okay, our book today is Deserts. Deserts. Yeah, where everything is dry. You got cactus and all kinds of other things. Deserts. By Tool Associates. By Keith Brandt. Illustrated by James Watling. Okay. Listen to the whistle wind, howling and blowing. It carries clouds of sand into the air. Each tiny grain of sand is the stinging pellet, and there is no shelter in sight. This is a sandstorm in the desert. Unlike other kinds of storms, no rain or sleet falls on the land. There's only dry, blowing wind tearing along stretches of sand and rock. Ooh, seems harsh, right? Yeah. As the wind lessens and stops, the desert becomes quiet. Overhead, the skies become clear to a brilliant blue. The sun is blazing, but the storm has written the signs of its fury on the land. Ripples of sand make beautiful patterns across the wide, flat plains. These are the fingerprints left by the wind's movement. In the distance are giant dunes or hills of sand. See them? The wind has been at work on the dunes, building them up and tearing them down, constantly shifting the countless grains of sand that make up each dune. Yeah, the sand, like when you go to the beach. The desert seems a strange and lonely place, but a few hardy plants and animals do live there. And surprisingly, deserts are fairly common. About 1/3 of the land on the earth is made of deserts. Oh, look, there's a snake. There's a big lizard, huh? If you could travel in a spaceship circling the globe, it would be easy to see where the Earth's hot, dry deserts are. Seen from the air, they form two belts, which stretch across the middle of the planet. One belt lies to the north of the equator, the imaginary line that divides the Earth in half. In this northern belt, the wide sands of the world's largest desert, the Sahara, stretch across North Africa and Asia. The huge Arabian and Gobi deserts cover much of the land. In North America lies another desert. It's the rocky Mojave Desert of the western United States. In the belt of deserts lying to the south of the equator are the Great Sandy Desert of Australia and the Kalahari Desert of southern Africa. South America also has many hot, dry deserts. Along this continent's western coast is the driest desert in the world. Not a single drop of rain has ever been recorded there. Wow. Could you imagine never having rain ever? Wow, that would be strange. But these are only the hot deserts of the earth. Did you know that some deserts are bitterly cold? The Earth's polar regions, the land at the north and the south poles, are called cold deserts. The air there is so cold that any moisture is quickly frozen. It cannot be used by plants, animals, or people. In this way, the hot, cold deserts are alike. They lack usable water. Although deserts are widespread over the earth, it takes a very special sort of plant or animal to live in such a dry climate. The desert's plants and animals have adapted to their rugged surroundings. This means they have changed little by little over thousands of years. They now have special ways of gathering the precious water they need to stay alive. See the penguins? They live when it's really cold, right? And there's the seals too. Among the gray and golden sands of the hot, dry desert, cactus plants dot the plains. These tough plants come in many shapes and sizes. Some are tall and thin, others are round and short, but all cactuses can store water for long periods of time. The inside of the cactus is filled with fibers which soak up and hold rain and dew. And the prickly thorns that cover the cactus protect it from thirsty animals that might try to bite into the juicy fibers. See? Yeah. Cactus. Got pricklies all over them. After After a rare spring rainstorm, the barren desert suddenly changes. It is filled with color. All across the sands, flowers pop up. Even the cactuses are in bloom. But this beautiful sight does not last for long. The seeds of these plants have waited a long time for rain. Now they must quickly flower and form new seeds before the sun heat stops their growth. Why is the desert so dry? This seems a puzzling question, especially because so many of the world's deserts are near oceans. But very often, high mountains or high flat lands called plateaus form a barrier between the ocean and the desert. When rain clouds form over the ocean, they drift toward the mountains. They are stopped. Their rain never reaches the desert. So the mountains stop the rain. The rain falls on the mountains instead of raining in the desert. Yeah. Ooh. Although the desert gets little rain, rivers and springs sometimes run underground where these sources of water rise to the surface. An oasis forms. Here, water soaks the mineral-rich desert soil, and many plants grow. Like small islands of lush greenery, oases flourish in the sea of sand. The animals of the desert are attracted to the oasis to quench their thirst and to find food. Some animals do not actually drink water, but get the water they need by eating plants. Plants or other animals. In the Arabian desert, the jackal prowls in search of food. This is a jackal. He's like a type of a dog. In North America, the coyote roams the Mojave Desert of California. If the coyote can't find meat, it will get water by eating plants and nuts. He's chasing a mouse. Yeah. Oasis. The best known desert animal of Africa, Asia is the camel. See the big camel? The strange animal is especially suited for life in the desert. On long legs, it strides across the sand. The wide pads on its feet keep the camel from sinking. No wonder camels have been called ships of the desert. During a sandstorm, the camel has double protection. Its nostrils are able to close tightly to keep out stinging grains, its nostrils and its nose, of the sand, and each eye is protected by long eyelashes and 3 eyelids. Wow. Probably everyone's heard about the camel's ability to skip a meal or two. Its body tissues and the fat in its hump store usable water and food. This lets the camel go for many days without a meal. This camel's rough tongue and lips also help it. Where other animals might be afraid to bite into a cactus, the camel is less troubled, at least most of the time. They're tough animals made just for the desert. Owls, cactus wrens, and roadrunners are a few of the birds that live in the desert of the southwestern United States. In years of drought, when there's no rainfalls, some birds seem to sense that water and food will be even scarcer than usual. In those years, they do not lay eggs or build nests until the drought is over. Oh, aren't they smart? During the day, snakes and lizards hide from strong, hot sun. As night settles over the desert, they come out from the shelter of rock or cactus in search of food. Plants and animals are not the only living things in the desert. For thousands of years, people have found ways to survive here too. See all the people living in the desert? In the Sahara, tribes of nomads travel in search of water. These people set up camp wherever they find an oasis. A group of nomads may have as many as 100 families. They are led by one chief. Nomads have very few possessions, for they must travel light. After finding water, they pitch their tents and let their flock of goats and sheep graze on the desert plants. When food and water are used up, they must move on to another oasis. Wearing robes to shield themselves from the sun, the nomads break camp and load up their camels. They are ready to move on once again. In the Gobi Desert of Asia, nomads are traders in addition to being herds. They carry goods to trade from place to place. Over routes that are thousands of years old, long camel caravans make their way over rock, hills, and sand. By day, the nomads must endure the hot sun. But as night settles over the desert, the air becomes cold, and frost may even cover the land. Then the nomads huddle around a fire for warmth. Some nomads are hunters. In the Great Sandy Desert of Australia, nomads use their sharp eyes and swift running ability to track down food. Ooh. Were the deserts always deserts? Scientists do not think so. The rocks and minerals of the desert soil give us clues about the desert's past. When salt deposits are now found, there was once lakes and oceans. After they dried up, their salt was left behind. The desert also has many rich minerals deposits and valuable fields of oil and coal. This clue suggests that long ago, many more trees and plants grew in the desert. After these plants died, it took millions of years for them to break down into coal. The minerals, oil, and coal of the deserts are important resources. The huge amounts of heat and light in the desert may one day provide another source of energy, solar energy, which means power from the sun. Scientists and engineers are at work on ways to best use the desert's resources. But the future of the desert has another side. Some fear that the deserts are growing larger. Some of the land in or near a desert is now used for farming and grazing. Scientists think that more than 1/3 of the land that may soon become barren desert. This would be serious danger to the people who live there, for food and water will become even scarcer than they are now. Why are the deserts becoming larger? Well, partly because there have been many droughts. But the biggest reason is that the desert land and oases have not been used wisely. As more and more nomads abandon lives of travel, the balance of nature is changed by staying in one place to farm or raise their herds. The settlers quickly used up scanty supplies of water, food, and firewood. The land becomes barren and useless. But with proper planning, this problem can be solved. In some deserts, beautiful flowers and vegetables grow. New farming methods have made the land fruitful again. A special type of irrigation and plastic greenhouses, which help hold in moisture, are some of the ways these farmers are renewing the desert land. For although they are a difficult and challenging place to live, the desert forms a large and strangely beautiful part of the earth. Their unique plants and animals, their dunes and oases, are all a special part of our planet. And the future of the desert is a part of our own future. That's right, we got to take care of the planet, and the desert is a big part of it. Thank you for sharing this book with me today. Come back again for more stories with Grandpa Bill. Goodbye.